most of you know this about me, but some of you don't. I've spent most of my I'd say I've spent 40% of my adult life in Asia studying. I've studied in India. I've studied in India, I've studied in Maharashtra and Ganeshpuri, in Mokambika in the south, and further south at Kamakshi. I've studied in Madras, I've studied in Delhi, I've studied in Calcutta and in Assam. I've studied in Kathmandu a lot. I've studied in Tibet. As you know, well, most of you know, I'm a lineage holder in the tradition of the pacification of suffering teachings of Padamba Sanjay. Which is Vajrayana Buddhist. I've studied in Srinagar with Swami Lakshmanju. I've studied in Tibet with significant Dzogchen masters from this era, some of the most. I've studied in China and in Japan, for sure. My point is that having all of that experience all over Asia, in Buddhist and in Hindu and Shaiva traditions and in Sufi traditions, the most sacred experience I have ever had is the experience that we've just shared. And I've had it, gratefully, many times. Why do I say most sacred? Well, you know, I was raised a Catholic, and if I went to the Catholic terminology, Catholic idea of it all, sacred is pure, it's godlike, it's beyond any kind of sin or stain at all. Gratefully, I'm not a Catholic, not even a Christian. In fact, I'm not religious at all. I know that probably will surprise some of you to think about, but I'm not religious. I guess I'm religious about my practice, but that's as religious as I get. Sacred to me means closest to essence. And it's sacred because it is beautiful and it feels unbelievably good when we touch it and when it touches us. The overflowing of good feeling from within us. I mean, sometimes we call that love, sometimes we call it joy, sometimes we call it beauty. This feeling that is available to us from within ourselves is a feeling that is so abundant it stops our mind, which of course is constantly judging and criticizing and complaining. It stops our mind dead in its tracks and overwhelms us with an experience of pure present. Now, probably for a lot of you, that wasn't exactly your experience tonight. Well, the reason is because getting comfortable with the tools that you have to make contact with your deepest self takes a little time. And getting comfortable in the space and with the work takes a little time, but you know, it is time spent that will transform your experience of yourself and your life completely. Because no longer is our life an experience of, you know, pursuing our desires while we work to pay our bills and save up enough money in our 401k to retire. That sounds like a just delicious experience, doesn't it? And yeah, I have to confess something, it troubles me slightly that I've forgotten consistently for the last 48 years to go to an office. Shoot. But, that's mostly because my calling was to create in a different context. To be able to wake up in the morning and feel your heart and feel the breath in your body and the flow of energy that is the breath of the breath moving in your heart, and to feel the joy that is accessible to you each morning, to live your life from, to transform your experience from, and to make your life an expression of the beauty and the sweetness and the refinement which is alive in you now. Alive in all of us now that we rarely, if ever, in this world touch, is sacred. It's sacred. It is as close to divine as you can possibly get in this earth. And it's unbelievably simple. It's sacred to sit and to feel our body and find our breath and discover that within this body there are places where creative energy has condensed that once awakened extends itself through this body and through the whole field of our senses and experience that is unbelievably powerful and transformative. Hidden in us, there is amazing talent, ability, understanding, skill. Ultimately, that is the power of transformation. To discover that hidden treasure within us, hidden in our own hearts, which, because our mind is constantly grumbling about something, stays pretty much locked down and tightly and closed day after day after day after day after day for a whole life. How stupid is that? But that's what we do. To discover this treasure hidden in you and to wake it up every day and put it in and just allow it to work for you carries us close to the divine. It takes us not just next to God, it dissolves us into God and dissolves God into us and transcends the whole discussion of God because, God is livingness, our essence. Take this sacred experience, bring it into yourself, hold the energy of it in you, and allow that energy to begin to assist you in dissolving the tensions that can obstruct your connection to your own heart and deepest self. Take this energy and allow it to start to activate, to wake up the deepest parts of you, through the tensions to wake up the deepest parts of you, and from within you allow it to expand and just unwrap all this crap you walked in with. So that your days become delicious. So that your eyes work and see and experience the beauty that's around you. Beauty that will nourish you deeply and liberate you from the bizarreness that seems to be ever increasingly overtaking most of the people on the planet, most of the lives on the planet. Within this sacred experience, there is a pathway to an unimaginable possibility, which is living in you now. Being rid of anger, frustration, tension, judgment, being rid of all of our opinions that keep us from connecting to the livingness in us and holding that space. Liberated from that, unimaginable possibilities present themselves, all around us as opportunities to expand and grow this precious life we have, and ultimately to become one with the livingness that is life itself. It's always more than, how should I close? It's been a great pleasure to be with you. For me, this experience is amazing always, and I am deeply grateful to share it with you. Namaste.